Time at the automatic tone, 0700.
Good morning. I'm Marine Corporal Rick Fredericksen with 5 minutes of news, compiled from commercial and military news agencies. The word is no again from Israel's Prime Minister Golda Meir to any peace formula from the Big Four powers. At Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Mrs. Meir said,
"It is only that we refuse, absolutely, that we should be the one people in the world who should consent that its fate should be decided by others."
Prime Minister Meir repeated that the ones to decide on the peace settlement in the Middle East are Israel and the Arab states. Former President Eisenhower's condition remains critical. Doctors at Walter Reed Army Hospital Center say evidences of congestive heart failure persist despite the fact that all appropriated therapeutic measures are being utilized. But they say the 78-year-old general remains conscious and lucid and sleeps well at night. They refuse to say if he is near death. Nothing of his inherent stamina is recovering from major illness at the past. As predicted, President Nixon has asked Congress to extend the 10% income tax surcharge for another year. He says the surcharge is needed to put brakes on the economy and help the government pay its bills. Mr. Nixon also promised that Congress would be getting a package of tax reform recommendations from the Treasury Department sometime next month. Democratic leaders on both sides of Capitol Hill say Congress will approve a one-year extension of the 10% surtax. House Speaker John McCormick put it this way, with President Nixon recommending it, my opinion is that it will pass. Senator Leader Mike Mansfield said he's sorry the extension is necessary, but he adds that there's probably no other way. Senator Stuart Symington is skeptical of the Safeguard missile system's value as a deterrent against the threat of a Soviet missile attack. At a Senate hearing this morning, Symington questioned Deputy Chief Secretary David Packard.
You would be the first to agree that if the Soviets decided a target was important enough to saturate it, whether it was Washington or Baltimore or Kansas City or St. Louis, that the city goes regardless of this AVN. Would you not? All right. Thank you, sir.
Senator Symington of Missouri contends that the missile defenses currently deployed in the U.S. are sufficient to cope with any Soviet missile threat, and that the Safeguard missile system is not necessary. The 14th U.S. plane to be hijacked to Cuba this year has landed in Dallas en route to its original destination in California. A Delta Airlines jet carrying 114 persons was forced to fly to Havana Airport yesterday and flew to Miami last night to refuel. In Los Angeles, the prosecution has opened its key examination of the key defense psychiatrist at Sirhan Sirhan's trial on the charge of murdering Senator Robert Kennedy. Correspondent John Davenport has the story.
Dr. Bernard Diamond believes Sirhan was in a trance when he shot Kennedy, that Sirhan is mentally sick. Prosecutor David Fitz tried to force Diamond to admit that tales of Sirhan's childhood traumatic experiences were exaggerated by him and his family to save him from the gas chamber. Several times I saw Sirhan become angry when Fitz questioned Diamond closely about Sirhan's tendency to lie. Sirhan was still angry when court recessed at noon. The defense could rest its case this week. John Davenport at the Sirhan trial, Los Angeles.
Vice President Agnew last night talked about the problems of the cities. In Washington, Mr. Agnew said President Nixon's new Urban Affairs Council is an important change from the past.
Well, I think it's a very important departure that the administration is making in this respect. As you know, the Urban Affairs Council is not intended to be an operational agency, but intended to be more of a think tank or policy developing kind of enterprise.
Vice President Agnew said private enterprise will have to help the cities with their problems. I'm Marine Corporal Rick Fredericksen, and that's news compiled from commercial and military news agencies on March 27th, 1969. Sports is next with Air Force Sergeant Ray Williams.
Driving a vehicle can sometimes be compared to falling off a log. You get so used to it, it becomes natural. Cruising down the road as your mind wanders to thoughts of home, your wife or girl at home. Usually a thought not actually on what you're doing at the moment. It's fine to daydream, but when you have a potentially lethal weapon under your control, you may just daydream yourself into deep trouble.